Thank you very much. Let me follow the steps of the Right Honorable Speaker and also stand on existing protocol so that we can save some time. I think we are all distinguished members of this party. And I want to thank PROFORUM for this opportunity to join you at your first Regional Presidents Conference. Let me thank the, should I call him the guest speaker or keynote speaker, for giving us a very intellectual expose on the grassroots, the role of the grassroots, and its nexus with our social democratic ideology. For most of you who don't know it, he's a member of the faculty of the party school. And so that was a lecture. Well, thank you very much. I was told to make a few remarks, and so I'll just proceed to do so. I believe that PROFORUM is one of the most positive developments in the history of our party since 1992. And this is because of a certain perception. We follow the history of mass parties in the world, all over the world. And the general perception of mass parties is that they are formed and led by the riffraffs in society. If you take our own history in Ghana, if you remember, the UGCC was made up of the big lawyers and the traders. And the UGCC had been the vehicle with which the initial demands for independence had begun. And all of you in school would have remembered self-government in the shortest possible time. And of course, there was another movement which was triggered by Dr. Kwame Nkrumah within the UGCC in alliance with ordinary people, teachers, ordinary workers, and the masses of society. And these people came to be known as the Veranda Boys. And these Veranda Boys, eventually when Nkrumah broke away from the UGCC, formed the CPP. And so the CPP was the first mass party that we had in Ghana. Of course, the UGCC remained an elite party. And so the perception has always been that mass parties do not have intellectual and academic firepower. I mean, just a fraction of the members of PROFORUM in this room and the introductions that you gave, self-introductions that you gave, I mean, clearly shows that pound for pound, we have on the side of NDC sufficient intellectual academic power to take on any party in this world. And we have proved it over the years. The PNDC and NDC, PNDC is the predecessor political organization of the NDC. And if you look at the period from the PNDC right into the NDC, you find that a lot of the critical social policy and economic reforms undertaking in this country were undertaken under these administrations. If you look at the economic recovery program that restructured our economy and the structural adjustment program that went with it, that brought Ghana back onto the path of growth from a command economy into a growth economy, it was initiated under the PNDC. If you look at all the new investment policies, opening up for private and foreign investment that were handled at that time, and people like our Dean of Ambassadors, Ambassador Kwesi Ahoy and Co, were at the forefront of that, opened up the economy to a lot of investment. If you look at our local government policy, that is the district assembly concept, it was the mass party concept that brought district assemblies into being, and it's proved to be one of the best decentralization instruments that we have in Africa. Many people have come to learn from us about our district assembly concept. If you look at the National Electrification Program, the Rural Electrification Program, I'm just giving you a few examples of policies that have revolutionized and improved life and spread prosperity in our country. And it has come from the policy thinking and intellectual thought of a mass party like the NDC. And so, to have created PROFORUM, which brings professionals, intellectuals, academics all together, to be an affiliate of the party and be able not only in terms of providing policy direction, but also help financially and in many other ways, I think that is one of the best things that we could have done. But I think one of the good things that PROFORUM has done is to increase the confidence of our professional groups in terms of being identified as being proud members of the NDC. Before PROFORUM, we have a lot of people who support the NDC, but they hide under the covers and are not willing to show their faces as supporters of NDC. Of course, you can understand why. With opponents who are so vindictive, for many of them who are still in service, showing their faces is often dangerous. It's not the same when NDC is in power. People very, freely identify with the MPP when NDC is in power, and they don't suffer any adverse consequences for it. Not the same when they are in power. There's a lot of vindictive, hunting down of people who are believed to be NDC and taking them out of job. So this confidence and pride is making more people join the PROFORUM, and it's a very good thing. And so, as has been said by earlier speakers, PROFORUM does not seek to supplant the elected executive. The role of PROFORUM is complementary to the executive and not in competition with the executive. Unfortunately, in several circumstances, people have misunderstood it, and there have been a few problems. But I'm happy to note that the National Executive and the leadership of PROFORUM are both aware of this and are working together to ensure that PROFORUM's role is complementary to the executive of the party and not in competition with it. During the last election, PROFORUM played a very important role, and I'll say that was a dress rehearsal for future elections and the bigger role that we'll expect them to play in terms of these elections. They not only provided ideas in the sense of election strategy and party strategy, but even in the drawing up of our manifesto, the input that was brought by PROFORUM was very, very critical in coming up with the People's Manifesto, which I think has been one of the most popular manifestos in the history of elections in Ghana. It appeared like NDC was the only party with a manifesto because only the NDC manifesto was discussed. Even when the incumbents launched their manifesto, nobody virtually discussed it, compared with the discussion of the NDC's manifesto. Aside from that, PROFORUM played a very important role in helping to mobilize finances for the party. There are many occasions where the party had to undertake some engagements and was short of resources. And members of PROFORUM dipped into their own pockets and contributed their widow's mite, which when put together enabled the party to be able to carry out those assignments. And so I want to thank you for the good work that you did. And this was not only at the national level, at the grassroots level. Many of you in the constituencies in which you were took the Adopt a Branch program and adopted your branches and financed your branches, financed your constituencies, Many of you financed your parliamentary candidates, provided them with resources to help them to win their elections. PROFORUM also assisted in communications and media and advocating the message of the party in the last election. And so I want to thank you very much for that. Going into the future, the role of PROFORUM must be deepened. You must deepen your role, and that's why I say 2020 was a dress rehearsal. We want to see you play a bigger role even in 2024. Because we realize that apart from contributing ideas and helping to finance the party and resourcing the party at different levels, we must also let you play a more important role in terms of the election day activities itself. As has been said, elections are won or lost at the constituency level on the ground. And we must ensure that we have more professionals, more educated people coming into play in respect of policing and monitoring the elections at the grassroots level. And so collation of results is an important activity that the expertise that you people carry can help in terms of collating the party's results in good time, and then also transmitting the results. I mean, a lot of you in your professional work have had to use information technology, IT, and now IT is becoming, very important in terms of transmitting results and getting results in good time to be able to undertake the political decision-making that is needed. And so we will expect that you would offer your services more to the party in these critical areas. You must also not shy away from becoming officers of the EC. You have the qualifications to be presiding officers and other electoral officers, and our opponents have taken advantage of it. And so you find that when the EC advertises, many of their people apply to become presiding officers, and so they are the electoral officers. And of course, you know what kind of advantages that can give them. But we must not only be content in being members of PROFORUM. Where the opportunity arises, we must stand for elected position. And so if you are capable and you believe that you have what it takes and you can garner the support, nothing bars members of PROFORUM from going for elected positions. And we must also get as many of our executives who are professionals to join PROFORUM. Because we have several chairmen of constituencies and other groups who are professionals, but who don't know that they can be members of PROFORUM at the same time. They are not mutually exclusive, being an executive member and being a member of PROFORUM. I'm a member of PROFORUM, and I was the flag bearer at the last election. The Speaker is a member of PROFORUM. Nana Jane is a member of PROFORUM. And so they are not mutually exclusive. And so even though we say institutionally the two should play complementary roles, it doesn't mean that we cannot be members of both, elected members of the party and at the same time members of PROFORUM. Elections are becoming more and more sophisticated and complex. I remember the first election we held in 1992 when we used metal ballot boxes, and then we graduated to opaque ballot boxes, and elections have continued to reform. Electoral processes have continued to reform till we came with biometric registers and all that. And so the level at which you need poll watchers, or let me say party agents, to be able to monitor and make sure that things are done right, the level and intellectual level has continued to increase. And so we need to get more of our members, including PROFORUM, our student movement, TAIN, and all of them, to get involved in becoming party agents at the polling station and branch levels. We have about 38 a little above 38,000 polling stations. And in each polling station, you need at least 2 people to be your poll watchers. In the past, the party agents had to be people who knew the community and knew people in the community in order to stop impersonation and double voting. Now the biometric register has taken care of that. And so it doesn't necessarily mean that you need somebody who knows everybody in the community. But even if you don't live in the community and you are there, you know what to do to match the biometric numbers with the ballots in the ballot box. Nobody can come and stuff ballots or impersonate somebody. So these are things that we need to look at. And I think they are some of the things that ProForum should put on their review agenda about the last election and see what role you can play in terms of filling the loopholes and gaps that we found in 2020. Communication and media are also critical, and I think ProForum can play an important role in this area. You are all experts in one area or the other. Normally when an issue of national discourse comes, a lot of our people are reluctant to come and offer their views about it, but not so the other side. They come in all forms as experts and all kinds of things. And you can just see that they're doing direct politics in supporting, the NPP. But our people are a bit more reticent in terms of coming out and supporting the position of the party. And so I expect for ProForum to encourage your members all over the country. If there's an issue of discussion and you have expertise in the area, feel free to come on the media and express your views. There's also social media now, which has become a very important, means of communication to the whole public. And you have expertise in areas that become important for discourse. We have the people, I won't say men because we have the women too. So we have the people who are very well qualified, very highly qualified, and we should continue to use them in whatever discourse comes up. Recently, I was quite happy and impressed with our brother Ray Anamu, GPHA, when a magazine published some very, defamatory issues about the new port and tried to create some, wrong impressions, that something untoward had happened. I mean, he came out, went on radio and deflated the whole thing and actually exposed the purpose for which they were doing that propaganda. And those are some of the things. I'm just giving him as an example to encourage others that if something is within your area of expertise and is being discussed and you can come and speak intelligently on it to support the party's position, don't hesitate to do so. The court case has ended. We were scored 7-0 on many occasions. We asked for replay, 7-0. And then one time it even went to 9-0. And then the final score was 7-0. And so it brought to an end the processes of the presidential election, especially considering that we decided not to go for a review. And so it means that we have brought an end to the presidential election processes. Even though we disagreed with the ruling of the court because we believe that a lot of things went wrong, and it was most unfortunate that the court did not give the opportunity to the Electoral Commissioner to come and defend her own declaration of the presidential results. We have no option as a democratic party that upholds the 1992 Constitution. As I said, we are bound by the ruling of the court. And so it brings to an end the presidential election petition and everything to do with the presidential election in the 2024 election, 2020 election. Somebody announced that in 2024 we're not going to court. So it brings an end to the presidential election of 2020. And we need to look forward and begin to discuss how we can play our role properly as the largest opposition party. And our role is to be advocates for the voiceless. I mean, people whose voices cannot be heard. I mean, people have all kinds of issues, you know, considering the incumbent and the majority. I have to be careful with this use of majority. Now that Speaker says it's co-leadership, I don't know how to describe the executive, the party that holds the executive. You know, people have issues, and it is our duty as the largest opposition party to articulate these views for them. But most importantly, it is our duty to hold the government to account. And so on issues that are topical and of national interest, it is our party's role to hold the government of President Nana Akufo-Addo to account to the people. And so let's look forward and start to play that role for the people. Let's work on the people's business. In this effort to look forward, we held 2 retreats, one for the members of parliament, and I was privileged to attend that retreat with them. It was very interesting. They did a lot of soul searching. They discussed very openly the issues that had confronted them in the early days in Parliament. Mr. Speaker was there. He gave a very good speech to the members of Parliament. We held another one for the party. And so our party executives came from all around the regions. And that was also a very, very, you know, a positive retreat. Every region was asked to account for its performance in the 2020 elections. And they came with reports. It's obvious that they have all begun to do their own reviews of what went right or what went wrong in their regions. Because you should have listened to some of the regional reports. And they were very interesting. There was one region, I won't mention which region it was. They said, oh, some of our party agents were illiterate. They couldn't read or write. And then the chairman asked, he said, but who appointed them? Who made them party agents? You know, so it's obvious that they themselves have started doing a review of what went right or what went wrong, what they did well, leading to a positive outcome in the region, and what they could have done better that led to, you know, a negative outcome. So let's continue that process. Let's help them to continue that process so that it can put the party in a position to be able to prepare itself, not only to play its role as the largest opposition party, but also to prepare itself for the next election in 2024. The party intends to carry this review retreat out at the regional level. And so the national one was held at home. The regions, over the next few weeks, you would see them holding their own reviews to once again look at some of the issues that came up in 2024 and how they can reorganize the party structures. I'm sure when they finish all that, all these will be synthesized in reports and brought together so that FEC and NEC can look at them. But if there are strategic decisions that need to be taken, they will be taken. There were some ideas that came up in respect of specific regions that have a certain peculiarity, not only in terms of size, but also in terms of other considerations, and what strategy the party should apply to those particular regions. And so those are all issues that I think are positive, and we must continue to pursue them. And PROFORUM has a role to play in helping the party go through all this. Let's create room in the party for everybody. Indeed, there's room in the party for everybody. Anybody who wants to help the party move forward, there's enough room to come in and help. We have to embrace all those who have ideas and want to come in and assist. But then I must remind that let us all use the right channels so that we don't create any suspicion between executives, between different groups, and so on and so forth. Everybody is important. We are all part of this party. We need our cadres. These are people who sacrificed some of them their lives, and others, sacrifice their welfare, broken marriages, and so on and so forth, to fight for the revolution. And the revolution is what gave birth to the NDC as a political party. And so our cadres are important to us. They are part of the party. We recognize cadres as an important part of our party. Our students staying, our young people who are the future of our party, we recognize them, and they have a role to play. And today our professionals are part of the party. We recognize them, they have a role to play. And if you go, we used to have our Zongo caucus. Today we've integrated it into a wing of the party. We have our markets, women's organizations, and so on and so forth. All those are important to the party, and all of them must have room to contribute and help towards the forward movement of the party. But in doing that, let's use the right channel so that we don't create suspicion, that any persons have any agenda. Because it will take a collective leadership to keep our party together. Ours has always been a collective leadership. Even when our founder was there, he did not take decisions on his own. He consulted broadly before he took any decisions. And so now that he's not there, even more than ever, we need to keep the unity of the party together. No one person can hold NDC together. No one person can move this party forward. It will take all of us coming together to move this party forward. And so ours is a collective leadership. And so let's always take note on that. I am a member of the Council of Elders. I'm a member of the political committee. And I happen to be the only surviving former president of NDC, of the party. And so definitely I must contribute my all to make sure that the party continues to move forward. And I want to assure you all that I'll give my time, my energy, my effort. The party grows from strength to strength. Because it's important, the NDC must remain a strong and united party. It is good for Ghana's democracy that we have a strong NDC. If we don't have the NDC, this country would descend into a one-party state, especially considering the tactics of our opponents. And they would love that. They would love to see a broken up NDC, fractured NDC, so that they can hold sway, over this country. And so the NDC is very important to remain national issues that Ghanaians are concerned about. And yet, instead, the talk has been about the NDC. And you know the NPP are very good. They and their media allies are very good at setting the agenda and at propaganda. And so at this time, to think that, you know, that the discourse must be about NDC, you know, instead of electricity outages, shortage of water in many places of the country, you know, Galamsey gone out of control, you know, difficulties and challenges with free SHS, you know, new taxes that have been imposed on people, escalating prices in markets, you know, COVID issues, lack of vaccines. These are the issues that should be talked about, not NDC. NDC does not collect anybody's taxes. We are not in government. We don't hold any power. And so we should avoid making ourselves the subject of discourse. Because, yes, they'll take advantage of it if we go and stand outside and start insulting each other. If you start insulting each other outside, you play into their hands and they'll take advantage of it. And so that's why I say let's quietly and efficiently carry out the reorganization of our party. And if we have internal disagreements, let us handle those disagreements internally. Who has more disagreements than the MPP? I mean, the battle lines are beginning to be drawn for 2024. And yet, I mean, they try to keep it as quiet as possible. And so let us not make ourselves the subject of discourse. Let us carry out our reorganization quietly and in the best interest of our party. Often, when something happens, they will invite you to come and discuss. It's not because they love you or they want to give you free airtime. When that subject was in there, they wouldn't have invited you. But once it has to do with NDC, and they think that you can say something controversial which will set the agenda for them, they'll invite you. And if you come and you play into their hands, they'll take advantage of it and they will run with it. And so keeping focused and looking forward is important. And I think that we must all do our work, not only at the national level, but at the grassroots, as the Speaker said, to prepare our party for the work that faces us in future. And I think that in doing that, PROFORUM has a very great role to play. I'm happy about the structure you've taken, your own decentralized structure with regional presidents, you know, organizing the forum in the different regions. And it's my hope that you will continue to carry out the duties that you've assigned yourself so that we have PROFORUM becoming an important affiliate of the party. It is possible that in the future, the forum can apply for affiliation as an affiliate recognized group of the party, and any national congress should be able to endorse that, so that then you also have, you know, the knowledge that, I mean, your work for the party is one that has some legal underpinnings with regards to being recognized by Congress as a part of the NDC and have a legitimate seat, maybe on the National Executive Committee and National Congress in future. These are all things that are important that I think you will discuss and contribute to how the party moves forward. So thank you very much. Long live PROFORUM, long live the NDC, long live the Republic of Ghana. Thank you. God bless you.